I'm Matt Eccles, Director of TyTek Medical here in Wolverhampton, England. Now, we ran a barometer to find out the competence and confidence of people when it comes to dealing with a catastrophic bleed. Now, it was really encouraging because over 99% of people knew that you can bleed out before professional help arrives. Between 2 to 5 minutes you can bleed out, which is obviously very serious. So before professional help arrives, what can we do? What can zero responders or bystanders do? Now, we went on to ask further questions in this barometer, and over 3/4 of those 150 responders didn't have access to emergency equipment to stop a catastrophic bleed, and also they didn't have the training even if they had the equipment. So there's a real stark disconnect between knowing that there's a terrible situation and actually being able to do something about it to mitigate that risk. Also in our barometer, 63% of responders said they didn't have access to this sort of emergency equipment. They've got first aid equipment, but that's not going to deal with a catastrophic bleed. They don't have access to that in their workplaces. If you think about just here in Wolverhampton, the amount of heavy industry that's in the area. And so it's not just all about deliberate attacks, it's about accidents in the workplace, or as we've seen over in the States, a disgruntled employee walks into a FedEx building and kills 8 people. So there's a definite situation there that only 37% of workplaces have access to this really important equipment. I think one of the key points of our barometer was that 87% of people, despite National Stop the Bleed Day being in its 3rd year, had no idea where or how to sign up for a Stop the Bleed class. Just an hour of your time could really, truly save a life. Another interesting point, I threw in a question about why we use the humble Sharpie in our bleeding control equipment, and asked people, why do we think we use the Sharpie? And a lot of people didn't know. A lot of people thought it was to push gauze into packing a wound. Actually, your Sharpie will help you when you apply a tourniquet, or tourniquet as it's known in the US. And what you do is you write on the person's name, the time it was applied, and other details if you've got the time. And what that means is that if you have to leave that person and go off and treat somebody else or come out of danger, when professional help arrives, they've got all the information about when the emergency equipment was applied. So with the lowering of the restrictions around the pandemic here in the UK from May the 17th, people are going to start returning to sporting arenas, entertainment venues, shopping malls, back to work even. So it's never been more important to be sort of hyper aware and be educated, equipped and empowered to save lives and stop a catastrophic bleed, given that now we're all back in these environments. So don't forget, National Stop the Bleed Day, 20th of May, that's a Thursday. And if you need any help with signposting or information, or if you want to see the full results of this barometer, you can visit us at tytekmedical.com, and you'll find all our contact information there and on our social media feeds across Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn.